So, hello student, today we will start the new model, model for waste handling, separation, storage and processing. So, in this model we will discuss before collection of waste from the sources, especially household or commercial areas, how to handle the waste and the separation some issue, and how best we can store the waste onto the source, so that the collection and treatment will be beneficial. And also we will discuss the source processing methods, like maybe some biological treatments could be possible, and how best we can treat the dry waste also at the source. That we will discuss in the next class. So, this was our functional element diagram, where we are now in the second functional element, waste handling, storage and separation and processing at source. So, it is before collection, is a primary collection and secondary collection. In this lecture we will discuss handling, separation and storage at source. So, first we will understand what is meaning by handling and separation. So, is a handling means the how best you can handle at the household or commercial area. Now, in India, the way our constructions of the buildings are changing, because earlier the bungalows were there, different house located. So, it was very easy to reach to the every family. Now, in India, most of the cities are coming with the apartments. Even in the, if you go to the small districts or taluka level, the lot of apartments are coming. In the apartment, there could be 10 flats, 20 flats or maybe 50 flats, and there are different numbers of families are residing in those apartments. Now, I think that become very difficult for the house to house collection system also, and how best we can store the waste in those apartments. That we will discuss here, handling and separation. This is also very important one, because once it is coming out from the apartment, the handling, storage and also the separation will be the one of the important issue, because now here in the apartment, for collection crew is very difficult to visit the each and every flat in the apartment. So, the apartment people has to come up with some kind of idea of separation in their locality itself, in their apartment areas. So, that is very important here, which we are going to discuss. So, now before Swachh Bharat mission, how we were handling and separate, used to be separate before the Swachh Bharat mission. This was few photographs, you can see that was very difficult. There was no separation, and handling also was not those scientifically. Separation, even storage also was not available before the Swachh Bharat mission. So, it is a collection of unsegregated waste. See here, and unsegregated municipal waste collected from the bin by the collection crew from the rack pickers or from the some crew members from the corporations. So, this is one news report that unsegregated waste won't be collected from July, Noida. So, this was the one photograph come up in the Noida. But after the Swachh Bharat mission, earlier also it was proposed that waste has to be segregated in the three part and has to be handled at the source itself in the three different segregation way. So, the first was the wet waste, that is in the green bin, where I think you can say is a most of the kitchen waste should to store it or get separated in the green bin, where the food waste, all kind of food, cooked, uncooked waste, vegetable peelings and these biological waste. Normally these biological will have the more moisture, that has to be stored in the green bin. Another segregation, that is for dry waste in the blue bin. So, which is also further segregated, this blue bin for the all kind of dry waste, that including the paper, plastic, rubber, leather, metal, glass, but again further segregation also is possible because there won't be any moisture. So, again it is possible at source also, or it is possible at some community level segregation facility also, where paper, plastic or packaging materials, rubber, leather, metal, glass can be again separated. And one more important segregation was domestic hazardous or household hazardous waste, that include most of like e-waste, paint, oil, chemicals or cleaning chemicals, that is also including into the household hazardous waste, that again has to be separated into the another bin. So, the household segregation, that here you can see that further we need to have three different way segregation. The first one is the wet waste. So, will be required special dustbin in the household level that will store the kitchen waste, and another for the other rooms from the house, that is for the dry waste, and that is a blue bin, and another yellow bin, that is for the domestic hazardous waste, has to be stored or should segregated. And again these once it is segregated, that will be collected by the local authority or corporations in the segregated way for the treatment process, recycling process or disposal purposes. You can see here under Swachh Bharat Mission, the one of the photograph, where again for the collection vehicle also the similar colors have been provided. For the biological waste or kitchen waste, the green bin, and for the dry waste for blue bin, and the household hazardous waste won't be get collected every day, and the production also is not very large. So, that can be collected once in a week or 2 times in a week or alternate days of the week. Now, this is another photograph. You can see here in the photograph Gila Kachra, that is a wet waste, and Sukha Kachra, that is a dry waste. So, that the both waste can go for the different treatment process. So, the wet waste will go to the biological treatment facility like composting or biogas production facility, and for dry waste will goes to the recycling facility or combustion facility, because most of the dry waste which is including paper, rubber, leather, these all or plastic is combustible matter. So, can also have waste to energy facilities in corporation. So, again that was for the household waste. For the commercial area or educational institute can have this kind of facility, especially in the institutions like colleges, universities, hospitals or airports, bus stands can have these kind of facility. The 3 different dustbins for dry waste, wet waste. Again I think you can see that you can provide special dustbins for the segregation, again for the sub segregation of dry waste like paper, plastic, glass or other kind of waste. See is another photograph. Might I think you people have seen in the airports or after Swachh Bharat Mission, lot of bus stands, railway stations and airports has come up with this kind of different colors of dustbins for the different waste, segregated waste storage. So, this is for wet, dry and this is a general. This is for commercial areas, you can see for dry waste collected bin from the small shops after the Swachh Bharat Mission. Now, here the waste handling and separation at residential dwellings. So, normally the residential area we can classify it in 3 different ways like low rise buildings, medium rise and high rise buildings. So, normally first we will go for low rise building. Normally in low rise building mostly now is a apartment. So, the apartment will have the societies, and this society has to be along with the security, water supply, sewage collection also has to be look upon to the waste storage and segregation from the society way, that apartment societies. but I think most of the apartments in India is a small size, and this apartments do not have their special societies. Societies. So, this society is not looking after the waste collection. So, in that cases, the every flat owners or house owners has to be store the waste in their house, and again has to be disposed into the locally available dustbin provided by the local authorities. Normally that kind of collection we call as a curb service. In the curb areas, which could be a maybe 100-meter or 200-meter far from your apartment, and households will be the responsible to dispose the waste onto those located dustbins. But I think the bigger apartments which will have 50 families or 100 families, so they will have their own society, and the society can plan how best they can collect the waste, some locations into the apartment area only, and how best they will be able to segregate in their apartment area. So, here households or tenants are responsible to dispose the waste into the nearby located dustbin. Or suppose the house to house collections are there, and if the local authority is able to visit your house particularly, so they will collect segregated waste. Now, for low and medium rise buildings, it is very good idea to have the basement storage. So, these basements you can provide the special kind of storage area for the waste, and also can provide some kind of segregation facility into the apartment basement itself. So, and you can provide also some maintenance staff, and maybe these households are located in this apartment, they can pay for this maintenance staff for collection of the waste also, and for separate segregation waste, and can easily stored into the basement area. Now, it is also, if suppose those kind of apartment do not have the basement area available for the storage of waste, they can go outdoor storage. If there is outdoor some kind of area available, they can have outdoor storage, and the benefit of outdoor storage, the the vehicle provided by the local authority can come to those outdoor area which is very close to the main roads, can easily collect the waste. Like here, this mechanical unloading of the waste from using collection vehicle can possible. In case of high rise buildings, is again difficult for the waste collection and segregation. So, it is possible that the special kind of maintenance staff has to be provided by the high rise dwelling peoples, or those kind of residents in those buildings, has to be provide some kind of maintenance staff to collect the waste, to pick up the waste from the household area, from each flats of that particular building, and proper storage also. And also, if suppose that maintenance staff and we do not have proper area for the or especially basement area is not available for the storage of waste, you can provide the garbage chutes opening for wet and dry waste on each floor is possible. I can show you some of the photograph, by that way you can understand. This is the vertical chute is provided onto the each floor. So, the residents on each floor can dispose the waste onto the same floor, and that also can be possible in the segregated way. So, we can have different openings for the dry waste and different opening for the wet waste. Only the larger size of waste can't put it into this chute, that can be again store or dispose into from the basement areas, but the most of the waste from the residential area can easily dispose into this chute, and directly it getting stored into the dustbin, and this dustbin can be hauled by the local authority. So, by that way each floor you can provide some kind of opening, so that waste can be disposed easily. Now, once you handled and we found the proper storage facility, need to again see that what are the factors considered before finalizing the on-site storage of solid waste. that is also very important one. So, the few factors like the effect of storage on waste component, another factor type of container to be used, the container location, this is also very important, what the difference between the distance between the container location, and especially the public health and aesthetics, which is very important for the city apartments. This you can see the underground storage is a highly attractive. So, we will go for one by one. The first factor is effect of storage on waste component. You see that especially developing countries like India is still producing large amount of biological waste. I think most of the report says that 50 to 60% is a biological waste, but I think I believe that maybe in the festival season or in the winter season it is possible to increase the biological concentration that goes to 70 to 80% also in some of the cities. So, we need to very serious about and very important issue before storage of such kind of waste wherever at household level or apartment level or any community level. So, because these biological waste will go for degradation and these degradations start within 6 hours of the storage and the odor will get start within 24 hours. And if you stored more than 24 hours, especially the odor will also produce, leachate will also produce, and because of that lot of flies also will get produced into those waste. You can see here, if you stored for longer period this biological waste, obviously flies will grow and also leachate will also produce. Now, and this leachate is highly polluted leachate. Cleaning is very difficult, this known to be a very hazardous because it contains lot of metals and a lot of organic matters, where these leachate the BOD can goes up to 50,000 milligram per liter compared to the human feces BOD of 200 and 300 milligram per liter. And this another point here, the absorption of fluid, or it is possible that once these kind of leachate will produce and if you mix both kind of waste, if you dispose the commingled waste like dry waste also along with the wet waste, it is possible that these fluid or these leachate will adsorb onto the dry matter. Like suppose paper and plastics are there or rubber, leather are there along with the biological waste, whatever the fluid or leachate has produced from the biological waste will also get adsorbed onto this dry matter, and once it is getting collected, this paper, plastic which is already contaminated with the leachate or which has been absorb these kind of hazardous leachate is very difficult to again go for recycling. And in India, you know that the rag pickers are collecting the fresh kind of material. They will not collect this kind of dry matter, whether is a very good quality of plastic or paper or rubber, leather also, which is having the leachate concentration there. And another important point here, the contamination of waste, because in the household lot of toxic waste is also generating lot of chemicals also we are using into the household area. Those chemicals like oil, paint, cleaning chemicals, these also will mix into these kind of waste. So, once everything is mixed together, it is very difficult for the collection also, not only for the collection, but also for the treatment and disposal. That is why in India, I think if you are not very good for the segregation at source, the entire waste will go to the disposal site, that is dump site, which very difficult to get treat. Even the collection also is very difficult in that case. So, because of this problem, house to house collection. So, because of that in Swachh Bharat mission, the house to house collection of segregated waste are practiced under the Swachh Bharat mission. So, now next point is the type of container. This is also very important one, type of container, because one of the costly event of entire solid waste management is a collection of the waste or collection and transportation of waste. And some of the report says that 80 to 90% of fund is required for the only for the collection and transportation of solid waste of entire fund available for the solid waste management. So, obviously also need to think about the what kind of dustbins has to be provided, what kind of dustbins or container has to be provided into the sources or onto the sources, so that the proper collection could be possible. So, there are two type of collection system, is a hall container system or hall collection system, where entire dustbin is getting hauled onto the vehicle, not only the waste but entire container. This was very good idea where the quantity is more or waste generation is very large. In that case, these kind of container system are very useful. Whatever size of the container could be possible to get hauled onto the vehicle and will go to the treatment facility or disposal facility. And this is another kind of one haul container. You can see that these entire dustbins can be hauled onto the vehicle. So, other kind of container is a stationary container. These container are not getting hauled. Here the waste is getting hauled from the container. So, in older days you see in India, I think the only simple kind of location used to be provided by the corporation, where households used to be dispose the waste, and manually corporations by providing 4 to 5 different crew members, they used to haul the waste into the vehicle. But now under Swachh Bharat mission, wherever the haul container is not possible, the corporation is providing these kind of stationary container. Now, here container is not getting hauled, but I think it was good to have the proper location where the waste is getting stored and getting collected by the local authority. Now, this another point is the container storage location. This is very important issue in the in most of the cities or most of the corporations area, because where to locate the dustbins, because they need to look onto the proper collection and transportation from those areas where containers have been located. So, the most of the cases how best corporation is finalizing the container location, that was the major two thoughts, where the waste generation is more and where the traffic is low. I think these are the few points where corporation is thinking. And see, in India nobody wants to have these kind of container dustbins near to their household area, and now space is very important into the city area. So, there was a thought in Swachh Bharat mission, can it possible the any city without dustbin, and that was very good thought. If entire city do not have these kind of dustbins or containers in the city, means the thought was that whatever we had discussed into the handling and separation, at source your vehicle is directly reaching to those residential area and collecting waste. So, that is also a very good idea, but is very costly process, where the vehicles are reaching to the individual houses and collecting the waste and going to the disposal or treatment facilities. That was difficult. So, corporation are trying their hard to reduce the number of dustbins locations into the city because of Swachh Bharat mission. But for especially for the small cities like taluka, district, where population is low, number of residents or number of households are less. So, in that case is possible that rather than planning for big size of collection vehicles, they can have simple auto tipper, and these auto tippers can visit each houses and can collect the waste, where the collection distance also, or that the distance from the city to the treatment facility is also just only 2 km, 5 km, that is not very costly. So, that By that way we can not only we can reduce the number of dustbins location from the city, but also city can be planned without dustbin also. So, once but I think still we have to wait for that when the such kind of city will come up without dustbin. But before that we have to discuss about the what should be the distance between the container. This is not like based on the rule or regulation, but I think if it is good, the distance between the two dustbins, if it is 500 meter and the nearest dustbins from any household should not be more than 250 meter. So, means the simple thought is that if suppose there is no house to house collection system, or if there is a house to house collection system, so the tricycle rickshaw person, if they are visiting to your house collecting the waste, they should not be travel so far to deposit the waste into the dustbin. So, that in 250 meter or 500 meter they can easily dispose the waste, and they can make number of trips. So, that they can in a day they can collect the waste from most of the houses. Now, this another point that public health and aesthetics, this is also very important, because if you are locating number of dustbins inside the city, obviously that won't be that aesthetic, or public health also not good, because if you are planning for those dustbin locations also need to be very serious about their collection frequency. And especially for the biological waste, your collection frequency should be once in a day. If possible, you can extend the collection efficiency, but if you reduce the collection frequency like alternate day collection, so obviously it is a very problematic for the especially for the biological waste, which will also come up with odor, leachate production, and flies and vermins will get produced from the that kind of waste. So, you can see here this kind of whether is a aesthetics. So, are these aesthetics? Aesthetics are is not good for the public health. So, some solutions here can have this kind of storage facility for every container locations, and this is possible nearby your apartment can be stored. Even the tricycle person will come up from the your household and can dispose the waste into such locations. The proper sanitation, the use of containers with tight lid, periodic washing of those containers and storage area can control the infestations of rats and flies. This use of container with tight lids. So, aesthetic consideration are related to the production of odor and unsightly conditions that could possible to produce into those locations. So, could possible that underground waste collection bins, this is one of the photograph from the Europe, can possible. Now, the last slide that is based on container capacity. So, for single household from family of 5 members can have the container of 12 to 15 liter, that is good for the waste storage for each dry and wet if the collection take place daily. And apartment complexes like and large buildings, 60 liter high density HDPE bins for 12 households, 120 liter for 20 households, and 250 liter, that is 96 kg HDPE bin for 48 households. There are few containers you can see. I think these are good. These kind of containers you can use it into the apartment area. So, this was the discussion for handling, storage, separation and storage at source level. These sources could be a household, could be apartment or some community storage. Now, again I think here before starting the collection is good to discuss some kind of processing facility could be possible, because in this lecture I talked about apartment storage, And normally in apartment lot of area is open area, and it is possible to have some kind of processing, if not dry waste processing, but wet waste processing could be possible. Maybe could have the small composting facility or some biogas facility, where some of the product can come out, and this product could be possible to utilize for the apartment purposes. So, that we will discuss into the next lecture of this module. Thank you.